Alright guys, this is the homework check for page 550, problems 22 through 29. I told you in the directions you're going to get a lot of decimals here. It was a lot of rounding. Definitely had to use a calculator. Still don't think the problems were too bad. As long as you went slow, followed order of operations, you should have been fine. Okay, so problem 22, I've got written out 2r squared plus r minus 14 equals 0. Again, if you could divide by something, divide by it to reduce it. I can't divide by anything. A equals 2, b equals 1, c equals negative 14. Have everything plugged into the formula. When I simplified the discriminant value, I came up with a 113. Okay, that's positive, which tells me it's going to be two solutions. This looks like negative 1 plus the square root of 113 over 4, and or we'll just do plus minus right here. Okay. Alright, so we got negative 1. I go to the calculator. The square root of 113 is approximately 10.6 rounded, so plus 10.6 over 4, and negative 1 minus 10.6 over 4. Okay, so I need those two answers. Again, I'm using the calculators quite a bit right now. When I work this part out, it's a 9.6 divided by 4, which is really 2.4. It's positive. Again, these are rounded. That one actually worked out to be exactly 2.4. And this is a negative 11.6 divided by 4, which is a negative 2.9 answer. Okay, that's the answer for the first one, 22. All right, number 23, 2n squared minus 7n minus 3 equals 0. Again, you can't divide by anything to reduce, simplify the problem. A is 2, B is negative 7, C is negative 3. You plug everything into the formula. Let's get the discriminant value here. I had the discriminant value under here as positive 73, right? 49 plus 24. That's right, so 73. So this now looks like 7 plus minus the square root of 73 over 4, which we have to work out. Calculator, two answers. 7 plus, I got 8.5 as the decimal there, over 4. 7 minus 8.5 over 4. This is 15.5 divided by 4. Okay, this gives me like 3.875. The book rounds it to approximately 3.9. The other side, I have a negative 0.375 something. I think that rounds to negative 0.4 is what the book had. Again, I'll take either of those depending on how much rounding that you did. Okay, number 24, 5v squared minus 7v minus 1 equals 0. The 1 started on the right side. I moved it over, switched the sign. A equals 5, B equals negative 7, C equals negative 1. For the discriminant on this problem, the value under the radical sign, I'm getting a 69. Okay, doesn't have a square root. That's a whole number, so we're going to get a decimal here as well. So I got 7 plus minus the square root of 69 over 10, which is going to equal to 7 plus, my decimal is 8.3 over 10. 7 minus 8.3 over 10. This is 15.3 divided by 10. That's going to round to 1.5, like 1.53, so 1.5 for this one. The other one is negative 1.3 divided by 10, which is like negative 0.13 or just negative 0.1 is what the book has. Okay, so I'll take either of those answers. If you like the extra decimal on there, you can have it. All right, so just throwing this in here, guys, before we start 25, just a reminder while we're doing these problems this way. This problem is a quadratic equation that you're trying to solve that cannot be factored. If you had a graphing calculator, you could get the solutions, but I'm showing you a method that works without the graphing calculator using the quadratic formula. So plug this into the formula again, looking for the discriminant. For 25, the discriminant was 133. Positive, which means you have two solutions here. So I've got 1 plus 133 square root, 1 plus minus over, I don't know, that's supposed to be a 22, it looks like. Yeah, that's an 11. 22. This is going to turn into, all right, 1 plus the square root of 133 divided by 22 on the calculator. And let me erase that. I can go ahead and do that part right here. So square root of 133 is going to be about 11.5. And then 1 minus 11.5 divided by 22 gives us the two answers. 1 plus 11.5, that's 12.5 divided by 22 is about 0.56 something something something, which rounds to about 0.6 is a good answer for that one, positive. Other side's negative 10.5 divided by 22, which is about negative 0.47 something something something, and that rounds to about negative 0.5 would be okay. Okay, check those two. Make sure your signs are right on these two. We have a test next week on Wednesday, and this will be on it. So continue to go back, look over these problems. We work them in practice to make sure they're right. Okay. All right, 26, 2w squared plus 7w plus 3 equals 0. Again, I moved this around when I look in the book. 26. Okay, this has this I don't know if you can see this, but negative 7w plus 3 on the right side. So I distributed that and moved them both to the left to get positive 7w and positive 3 on the left side, just to let you know, change the way it looks. Just distribute the subtraction sign across there, and then move everything to the left with a positive 2w squared, and you got everything set equal to 0. I can't divide anything. There's no common factor here, so we're going to start it. The discriminant here is going to be 25. Okay, 25 is a good number, okay, because that's perfect square. We know that answer is 5, so I can work this one out maybe with not as much trouble. I know the square root of 25 is 5, so negative 7 plus 5 over 14. And I don't know where 14 comes from. How about 4? I got a mistake right here. This is supposed to be 2 times 2. Sorry. That's just a 4 here. Right. And then I got negative 7 minus 5 over 4. I already know that this is going to be negative 12 divided by 4, so that's negative 3. So we actually have an integer answer here. This side is going to be negative 2 divided by 4, which is negative 1/2. If you have this as a decimal, of course, it's negative 0.5, right? Okay, 27. This is a sort of unusual problem. I do this a couple of ways. I just distributed the 2 across the parentheses at the top right here to get 24g squared minus 2g, and then I moved the 15 over to get negative 15. So we, again, get it set equal to 0. Always move everything to one side. I always like to have my squared term as a positive. You don't have to, but I do. So I always work the problem so that I move the squared term so it's positive, and then move everything else with it. Okay, that's just me. Okay, the discriminant for this problem under the radical sign, I got a really big number here. I think it was like 1,440, maybe 40, I think, if I remember right. Because I'm getting, all right, 2 plus minus the square root of 1,444 over 48 down here. And when I grab the calculator and keyed in the square root of 1,444, I get 38. All right, so I got 2 plus 38 over 48, and 2 minus 38 over 48, which actually works out to be pretty good answers as well. This one's going to be 40 over 48. And I can just reduce that fraction by 8 to give me 5/6. Alright, so I like 5/6 here. If you have it as a decimal, it's a 0.625. So maybe 0.6 if you wanted to round it would be okay. Same answer. Excuse me, I got negative 36 over 48. Again, I can run through most of this without the calculator. Divide them by 12. So if negative 3/4 is good. Y'all know that that's 0.75. So negative 0.8. If you wanted a decimal there, wanted to round, it's fine. I mean, I would keep those fractions if I get them. All right, I thought I'd record this one from the beginning because of two things. One, it has a negative squared coefficient, a negative a, so to speak, in the beginning, and it's got decimals. So I'll show you what I did to change it. You don't have to do it this way. You can just move the negative 0.3 to the left and work out all your a, b's, and c's that way, and it'll work out the same. But I did it in a way I feel like makes it easier for me to plug in. So for me, I'm moving all this stuff to the right, so it'll make that positive. Not technically to the right, it's going to be on the left of the equation, but I'm flipping the signs. So 2x squared minus 0.7x, and then keep that one is going to be negative or minus 0.3 equals 0. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to do is multiply everything here by 10 to lose the decimal, so I don't have to put in so much stuff in my calculator. So I'm going to go 20x squared minus 7x minus 3 equals 0. A lot of y'all probably saying at this point, you know, you wished you would have done it that way because it wouldn't have been so hard in the calculator, I think. So the a on this one now becomes 20. B equals negative 7. C, that's a 7, equals negative 3. And again, run it through the formula. Alright, so I just paused it so I could get that written in. I'm trying to save a little time so the video is not so long for you to watch. I get it plugged in, A 20, B negative 7, C negative 3. Again, if you did multiply it by 10, you got the same thing I got. You just got decimals in a few places. Check your signs, make sure your signs are right. You could have all the signs opposite from me, it would still work out to be the same. So I'm getting 7 plus minus a discriminant value on this problem. This is number 28. I didn't write that down, sorry. Number 28, the discriminant value, I got 289, right? 289. So the square root of 289 over 40. Change back to black. So I got 7. You know, we know that's perfect square. So 7 plus 17 over 40. And 7 minus 17 over 40. Again, this works out to be not such a bad problem. I got 24 over 40, which we know 8 goes into both of those. So how about 3/5 is a good answer. Or if you have it as a decimal, it's 0.6, right? Either one of those are okay. This is a negative 10 over 40, and you know that's a negative 1/4, or a negative 0.25 for an answer either way, or negative 0.3 if you round it, it's fine. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to that last problem. I'm not sure what was going on here. I just thought of this, but I gave y'all wrong. This was supposed to be, I was just, this part right here is 1440 plus 4. So the discriminant is actually 1444. I have it right in this section. I don't know why I wrote the wrong thing down. So, all right, that completes the homework check through 28 for page 550. Keep on practicing. Again, making sure that you're not sending me this homework right now. That's just for you to keep, things to study, correct, and learn from. We'll have a homework check one day next week. You can send me a couple of these problems so I can look over and make sure you know what you're doing. Mainly this is for practice for you for the test. We have our last major test is next week. So it'll be all on quadratics, the graphing, the factoring, the quadratic formula we're doing now, plus today there's a lesson that's going to be on applications, which is going to be some really small short word problems, but they're going to be, I feel like, pretty difficult for you. So I'm getting ready to come up with a lesson for that and post it and help you through some of those word problems. And again, you know, always reach out to me and email me if you have questions with this or don't understand it, and I'll try to get back to you the best I can. Okay, thanks.